All right, welcome back. This is Frank DeMore with the last Chronicles of Planet Earth. This is part 5 for June of 2011, June 28th. We're going to be going into some other prophecies now to continue to show you all these different signs that the Lord told us to watch for is actually taking place. And if you're seeing me smile, I just want to say this. I know that most of this news is bad, and nobody looks forward to the bad news. But if you're a Christian, you have to look over the hump, if you will, and see what's on the other side. Because we know from Jesus Christ, who told us in Matthew chapter 24, that when you shall see all these things, know that it's near, even at the door. And so as we see all this bad news, at the same time, we have our blessed hope, because that's what Jesus told us, to keep on the watch. He is our blessed hope, and we're looking for the blessed returns when he's going to take and remove his church away from all these things. So that brings me great joy. And I'm looking up because he said, when you shall see all these things, look up, because your redemption draws near. And we know that this is the beginning, and we know that the Lord is coming back. Now, one of the other signs is a sign that you will read about in Luke chapter 21 and verse 11, where there's a whole different assortment of different prophecies and signs. But I'm going to focus right now on pestilence. And pestilence could be disease. We also could see pestilences from insects that wipe out crops or whatever. But I'm gonna talk about disease, because we know that there's going to be many diseases that will, especially during the tribulation. And this is the beginning of the birth pangs to come. And so in my book, there's a huge chapter of and a timeline that shows you all of the diseases that have cropped up over the years. And I'm not just talking about the normal diseases. I'm talking about the ones that they're saying are superbugs, the ones that cannot be controlled, the ones that are coming back, but they're worse than they were before, and they don't have medicine to take care of it. That's the ones that I'm talking about. And this is going to be magnified, as I said, during the tribulation. Now, here's one of the articles that I'd like to point out. This just came out. This article was released June 23rd of 2011 by Tara Daly, news about the what's happening here on planet Earth. Put this up here. If you like, you can Google this, or just Google my name and this article, and it'll take you right to my site so that you can get the information on that with the connection of what the Bible has to say. But look at this. It says, Hong Kong confirms the second scarlet fever death. Hong Kong health authorities on Thursday confirmed that a 5-year-old boy had died from scarlet fever, the second death in the southern Chinese city, as dozens of new cases were reported. The number of infections in the territory has soared above the 500, according to the health authorities, who said that more than 9,000 people have been infected in the Chinese mainland, doubling the average figure in recent years. Again, doubling the figures. Remember what I told you before in my previous video, that when you're hearing the news, they're saying things are a lot worse than they were before? Birth pangs, people. These are the birth pangs. Every word that comes out of the mouth of the Lord Jesus Christ, we are seeing in the news. And it's the truth. It's the truth of the Lord's prophecies about these things. So we see evidence, and this is only one of the articles, only one news report about disease. You want to go to my book, download it, go to BibleProphecyMan.com, or you can go to www.demoraministry.com. It'll take you there. You can download my book today for free. Now, here's another report that I want to talk about, and it has to do with about the prophecy about what people were going to be like in the last days. And Timothy wrote to us about the characteristics of what we should be looking for about the people living in the last days. And chapter 3 of 2 Timothy it says this. I'll start right off from verse 1. And know this, that in the last days perilous times shall come. We've already seen those. For men shall be lovers of their own selves. You can go to any store, bookstore, and get dozens, 50, 60 magazines from different parts of the world about self. Self magazines, self this, self that. Everybody's becoming so inward and selfish in these last days. They have all kinds of schemes where they're making money to show I'm how selfish, right? It says, for men should be lovers of their own selves, covetous, boasters, proud, blasphemers. Obviously that's going on. Disobedient to parents. And we're seeing a rash of this take place because of the downfall of the society in the world today, that we're seeing the generation that's coming up now are very crude, and they don't have the moral fiber as happened just 50 years ago. And so kids today are completely different. We see the product of what they're watching on the news or in the movies and on the music and the sexual in the overtures of the music. And just about everywhere you turn around, you'll see filth from the magazines, from pornography, from music. It's all over the place. You can't get away from it. And our kids are sucking this up. And one of the reasons why it's so bad is because the family breaking down and the kids don't have a good moral background, and so they're falling into the abyss. It says, without natural affection, truth breakers, false accusers, incontinent, fierce, despisers of those that are good, traitors, heady, high-minders, lovers of pleasures. And we'll talk about that a little bit more than lovers of God, and they have the form of godliness, but denying the power thereof, some such turn away. So a lot of people say, yeah, we know God, but they deny him. They deny his power. They're doing exactly what Timothy said. So all the characteristics that Timothy outlined for us in the last days, they're here in this one generation. Now, in my book, I cite report after report about kids, young adults who are going berserk all over the United States and many parts of the world, as a matter of fact. And I'm going to show you one of the latest reports that I just pulled up. This came up in June of 23rd of 2011. It says, Teen Mob hits Walgreens on the Mag Mile. This is the shopping center that was there. I'll put this up so you can see which I'm reading for. Chicago, CBS Chicago. And this is one of many of these incidences that are taking place. It says the teenage robbery mobs are at it again in the North Michigan Avenue. Some 50 young people barged into the Walgreens in Michigan and Chicago and the Magnificent Mile on Tuesday afternoon. That's the name of the street. They took bottled drinks and sandwiches off the shelves. Then they ran CBS 2's Susan LeMagnet reported. It says the police report says the authorities were able to nab 3 of the thieves. Obviously, if there's 50 of them, it's almost like Alibaba, the 40 thieves. Well, this is only a microcosm of what's taking place. Now, if you go to my book, you'll see kids boarding trains in huge numbers, going up and beating people to a pulp. You'll see, just Google obviously I can't give them to you all here in this limited time, but Google fighting in McDonald's restaurants, because there's dozens of cases now in different restaurants that people are just going crazy. And they're fighting, beating up people, girls that are coming together and just beating another girl to a pulp until she even has a seizure. These are brutal people. No conscience, seared. They're just without natural affection. Exactly what the Lord told us what was going to happen. Now, and the other one of the things specifically to this generation, Jesus told us in Luke chapter 17, verses 25 through 29, and also in Matthew chapter 24, you could start at verse 32 and go all the way to 39. In those two cases, Jesus compares this last generation and says that the last generation was going to be just like Sodom and Gomorrah and just like Noah's generation. Well, what happened in Sodom and Gomorrah and what happened in Noah's generation? We know that a big part of those those generations were homosexuality was running rampant. And we were told that that was going to happen just prior to Jesus Christ coming back. He said that when you see it happen, again, all of the signs, and this is one of them, one of the major signs that we're going to see take place. As a matter of fact, let me really quickly, I'll go to it so that you'll know exactly where it is. I have so many notes in this Bible. But let me go right to Matthew chapter 24 and read it for you. It says this. It says, "So likewise ye, when you shall see all these things, know that it's near, even at the door." He's talking about all the signs of the last days, and they're already here. "Verily I say unto you, this generation shall not pass till all these things fulfilled." In other words, we're not going anywhere until all of this is fulfilled, and we're seeing it happen right now. That's how close we are. "Heaven and earth shall pass away, but my word shall not pass away," because God is truth. Everything that he says is coming to pass. "But of the day and the hour no man knoweth, not the angels in heaven, but only the Father only. But as in the days of Noah, so will the coming of the Son of Man be. For as the days that were before the flood, the eating and drinking and marrying and giving in marriage, until the day of Noah entered into the ark, and no, not until the flood came and took them all away, so also the coming of the Son of Man be." All right? So we know that this last generation would do exactly what Noah's generation did in Sodom and Gomorrah, as it was reading in Luke chapter 17. Now, in the United States, nation after, or state after state is turning into a changing the law, making homosexuality, a marriage, gay marriage, legal. And what they're doing is taking what God has given to us as an instrument of his will, as what a family is, a man and a woman. They raise kids. That they're destroying the fabric of the society that God has put together for us. And the nation, or state after state, is going with this gay marriage. Now, what I want to say here is this. I'm just showing you where we are. All right? Where we are in this generation, how close we are to seeing the Lord come back. New York just became another one of those states that changed the law, and now you can get married in New York, same-sex marriage. All right? Well, we don't hate the gay people. I don't hate the gay people. I pray for them. I pray that they would open up their eyes and their heart to the Lord before the Lord comes back and before the church is taken away. But I'm just showing you this information to show you one thing. We're at the exact point where Jesus said we were going to be in this generation when all of these things were going to take place. Not only that, but look at this. Violent, deadly pharmacy robberies on the rise. All right, this is an article that came out, and this was by CBSNews.com on June 26th. And it's talking about how the rise of pharmacies, the burglary of pharmacies, and what they're doing is they're stealing drugs, stealing prescription drugs. Revelation 9:21, just like Daniel said that the generation would be a generation of travel and education, Revelation 9:21 says that last generation is going to be a drug generation, and we are that drug generation. God help anybody who doesn't believe in the word of the Lord. We're here. Jesus is coming soon, and you better get right with the Lord, and this is no joke. I pray for your soul. I pray that you'll come back, and I'll keep giving you the information until we're gone. God bless.